All right, so welcome. We're here with Ariel Schwarz and Mark Walewski from Mikkeller Brew Pub London. Thank you for joining us. Pretty early on a Sunday morning for you, Mark. How are you doing?
Yeah, I wasn't planning to be up this early, but it's all good. It's all a bit of fun.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. So both of you were slated to work at Mikkeller Brew Pub London, and I was wondering if you could start just by telling us about the site, what the original plans for launching it were, and how that's changed in light of the pandemic situation.
Right. So um, initially, the bar opened up as a pop-up to show the locals what what the company was all about, what the site was going to become, because it's a very sort of protected street, Exmouth Market. The locals love it; they're very protective over it. So we wanted to show them just basically the kind of clientele that would be getting in. So it's opened up as a pop-up bar for a few months, and then it closed down to start the renovations and installation of the Premier Stainless brew house. And yeah, so that closed down in January, and we were hoping to be open fully by the 2nd of May. That should have been our official launch party. But yeah, obviously things have happened, and we're still not brewing yet. We've had some issues, some technical issues, but we should hopefully be brewing over the next week or so, finally. It's been a bit tough, obviously with COVID-19 and getting enough construction workers on site at the same time. Obviously with social distancing, it's been very difficult, but yeah, we're almost there. And now, yeah, we're liaising with Premier Stainless to get things operational. They've been great about everything. They even sent someone over a couple of weeks ago, flew all the way from San Diego, but unfortunately things still weren't quite ready for us. We had some more technical issues, but yeah, we've overcome them. And yeah, obviously we're missing a big component, and that's Ariel. So that's going to be awesome when she can eventually finally come here. And yeah, so I think, well, at the moment, the government isn't really letting us know exactly when we can open. The hospitality industry isn't really sure when places can reopen, but we're shooting for the 1st of July. We want to be as ready as possible for when we can actually open. So yeah, we're just like taking as it comes, but yeah, 1st of July is sort of the dates we have in mind.
Great. Yeah, so a few months off from the original plan, but that seems, workable as far as the summer and everything.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what your different positions are and what responsibilities go along with your particular positions?
Right, so I'm head brewer at the brew pub, and basically I'll be getting involved with everything from work production to cellaring, procurement of materials, dry goods, just getting involved with everything really. And Ariel's joining us as a brewer, and she's getting involved with lots of recipes at the moment. Obviously, it's difficult with her being all the way over there in the States, but I'll let her talk to you about what she's been doing remotely to help us out.
So obviously my position there was supposed to be brewer, so I was supposed to go over there and brew beer, cellar beer, and be involved obviously in like a lot of the aspects of what Mark was talking about and recipe writing. And what it's kind of changed into is I've done like a fruit procurement for a couple beers that we want to make, and I've been writing recipes and doing research on other projects that we want to be involved in, one of them being like reuse water of our reverse osmosis system, and how we can reuse the discard water that comes out of the reverse osmosis system that's really mineral rich, because we can't really use it for brewing, since we want our water to be really, I guess, like no minerality whatsoever and completely neutral. So what can we do with like the discharge water? And I've been looking into different types of fermentation is what I'll say it as. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about like, I don't know, more than that, but different types of fermentation and what works best for those and how, you know, we could make them work for us in London. And then waiting. I've been doing a lot of waiting on when I'd be able to get my visa taken care of and all of that stuff. So, which kind of sucks, but hopefully that there's going to be changes coming up soon with the government buildings in the US are supposed to start opening slowly, and June 3rd and 4th are like the dates that they have for the like immigration offices, which is where I would go get my visa partially taken care of. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, I know you had an interesting voyage. So you were supposed to be in London like March 10th or something like that, pretty early in March, and then now you're in Florida. Do you want to talk a little bit about
I guess it was kind of getting pushed back since the job offer. I was offered the job in November. Both of us were offered the jobs in November. And at that point, they were like, well, we think maybe end of January, beginning of February. And then it was probably end of February. And then it was, okay, beginning of March. And then it was end of March. And then coronavirus happened and then it got delayed. So, and it was delayed because the government offices weren't open, not necessarily because I just like decided not to go. I couldn't get my visa taken care of. And at that point, the end of March, I lost the lease on my apartment in Brooklyn because it was just up, and moved in with Scott and his roommate for a short period of time, and then moved down to Florida because Scott lost his job at Mikkeller, New York City. Just with coronavirus, they just weren't operational for a while. So yeah, now we're living in Florida and it's really hot.
Cool. So at this new site, will you guys be focusing on brewing a certain style or range of beers, or will it be all over the map in what you'll be brewing?
So we're looking to basically have a really broad spectrum of beers. So in the hope to introduce a lot of drinkers to styles maybe they wouldn't have known about before. We're going to have 20 taps available there. I'm hoping we'll have probably 15 brew pub beers on at any one point, with a few guest beers on taking up the other taps. So yeah, we've got quite a solid launch lineup that we've chopped and changed a bit since Corona started. But yeah, so we're looking. I know Mikkel specified he really wants a lot of lagers on, which Ariel and I are really happy about. We both love drinking lagers, and yeah, it's going to be really nice to be able to delve into the various different styles that you can have that a lot of drinkers might not even be aware of.
Ariel, anything to add on that, or does that about cover it up?
I mean, yeah. So.
I mean, that's great. It sounds like, 20 taps, that's a good amount. And to have, some dedicated for some guest brewers, and then just sort of mix it up with a lot of lagers. That sounds like a great place. I'd go there.
Arielles. This one's actually like a slight modification of the recipe for the first hazy pale that we're going to make with Nelson Sauvin hops. So that was like the only beer that I've homebrewed besides the one we're doing right now. And yeah, I guess when I was originally like pitched the idea for the job, it was just like, okay, one of the questions, I don't know, Mark probably got the same thing. What if you could design like a tap list for like 7 taps in New York City, like what beers would you throw on tap right now? And I think it was just kind of, like we're looking for a diversity of beer, and we're also looking to make really, really dialed in great beers. So it's a really exciting project, and I'm really looking forward to like actually being on the ground and not just like in this like internet space of writing recipes and sending them off and editing the production schedule and stuff like that. So it should be really fun once we really get rolling.
And from your time at Mikkeller, New York, is it going to be a similar system at all? I imagine it'll be a bit smaller than that one since it was pretty massive. So do you think you'll have a learning curve as far as learning the new system that's there?
It's already been a bit of a learning curve, just kind of converting my entire brain over to the metric system. So I'm like operating in that now, which was a change, and operating on a smaller level, which has not necessarily taken a lot of getting used to, but it was more of just like a comparison of like, okay, so I know what we did at Mikkeller, New York City. How would I like scale that down and like, or make it better, or whatever I choose, whatever we choose to do. So that I guess would just be like, got to exercise the brain a little bit and do some math, but it's been like I don't know, I've had a lot of fun doing it, but the systems are, while they're both made by Premier Stainless, the system in New York City is 3 times the size, roughly, or 2 times the size, more than 2 times the size. So, and it's also completely like automatic on a touch screen where you're just kind of pressing buttons to open valves. The system in London is completely manual besides like a few things. So it's going to take a lot of getting used to do what a lot of people, including Scott, have called real brewing, which is fully manual valve control. So I'm excited for that though. I love running around and throwing stuff. So it'll be a good exercise, really.
Yeah, no, sounds fun.
Yeah. Flight of stairs to the cellar, so then you get a little bit of cardio running up and down if you're knocking
out. So how much freedom do you two have in recipe development? Is it just you could go with whatever you want, or are there specific things that you have to worry about? Do they get approved by someone, or do you have to consider what's going to sell better than other options? So even if you wanted to do one of your favorite styles, maybe it's not good for the London market.
Yeah, so that plays into it quite a bit. So we're looking at what people want to drink as well, and we've been working with our front of house general manager, who's been sort of giving us some ideas as to what was selling really well during the pop-up stage of the bar, and it allowed us to create a launch lineup, which it's got a bit of everything in there, and it's definitely going to have a lot of it's going to bring a lot of excitement to the local drinkers who usually would just come in for a pint of pale or a pint of lager. It's going to show them that there is more to beer than just fizzy yellow stuff. And in terms of the actual recipe development, it's obviously this project is something that Mikkel is very excited about, and we've basically been left to do our own thing, but we're getting him involved as much as possible. So originally we were talking recipes with him, and he seemed very happy with what Ariel and I put forward, and I just like to get him involved as well as much as possible, because it's a very big thing for him, and he's got some fantastic ideas as well. He's a very good brewer, and his input has been excellent from the start. And Ariel's, anything you want to add on that?
I know that like one thing that a lot of people see with the Mikkeller brand is like the beer geek and the bean geek and like stuff like that. So like using all of like those type of staples to like the brand is something that is going to be incorporated for us. So we like, we're going to brew our version of like a beer geek, and like those types of things are definitely going to be a huge part of how we operate. Just, it's it's a brand in and of itself. It's a large craft brand, so kind of adhering to that. But I'm excited being able to kind of brew with a recipe that's been, you know, kind of circulating through the various like Mikkeller breweries, like in San Diego and, you know, like the European stuff. It's cool to kind of put our own take on it and see what we can do, especially if we were to add like adjuncts to it, with like local purveyors in London, to support like small local businesses as well, and come up with good beer. So I'm excited to take a stab at those types of things.
Excellent. And so you mentioned, you know, one of the first beers is this Nelson Hazy IPA. Is that a big thing in London? Are they drinking hazy IPAs, or is it still like, you know, a beer shouldn't look like that? And in general, what's the London beer scene like right now? Not necessarily in COVID, but like, you know, a few months ago.
So a few years ago, if you were to serve a hazy pale ale in a pub, yeah, people would look at it funny. But these days, yeah, it's very popular, especially in the London, well, the UK sort of pub scene. People want pints. It's the thing, you go out for pints and you want something of a drinkable ABV, so you can put a few of them away with your friends. So yeah, something like a 5% pale ale, that really flies out. It's very popular at the moment, and yeah, I believe this first beer that we're going to be doing, the hazy Nelson Pale, is it's going to be popular, very popular. And with the beer scene in the UK, it's an excellent time to be a part of it. Obviously, without COVID happening, the way to describe it was, well, I imagine it's very similar to sort of the New York scene, where a lot of the breweries do get on together. There's a lot of collaborating, and I think it's really exciting to be part of a brew pub, not just a brewery, because there's the whole front of house aspect as well that we're getting involved in, and yeah, I find it really, really exciting, and I don't know how things are going to be after COVID. COVID leaves us and we start to sort of return to normality, but I imagine pubs are going to be still very, very popular. They're going to fill up, well, as much as they legally can, once things return to normal. But yeah, people are dying to get back to the pubs and have a pint. It's part of the culture really over here, and yeah, I can't wait to get back to the pub.
All right, so let's see. We've got a question on the line. So Anthony Totten, you have your hands raised. I'm going to allow you to talk, so then you'll be able to unmute your mic and you could ask your question. So.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm a little late, but is Mark going to be the brewer in Mikkeller London?
Ariel.
Yeah. Arielles.
Well, both of us are. It's going to be a lot of trade-off, I think, we talked about doing, you know, like weekly shifts where like Mark's on the brew deck for a week and then I'm on the brew deck for a week and then the other person's in the cellar, and just kind of like handing off responsibility that way. But it also, you know.
Are we going war pig style? So is Mikkeller London going to be War Pigs Copenhagen, or is Mikkeller London going to have its own identity?
It's definitely going to have its own identity. There's going to be a food aspect to it as well. We've just got on board an awesome new head chef who's coming from New York, Jared Ferguson. So he'll be coming over soon, hopefully. And yeah, it's going to have its own identity of Mikkeller Brew Pub London. It's the first solo brew pub for Mikkeller in Europe. So yeah, it's
and Mads is front of house manager. Who's running the front of house, Mads?
Front of house manager is Dylan. He's Mads is currently running operations for the UK, but yeah, we have an excellent front of house team. But obviously, yeah, Mez has got some input with the build up, but ultimately, yeah, it's Dylan and his awesome team that are running things there.
In general, the entire Mikkeller UK team is an incredible group of people, like very hardworking individuals, really down to earth, friendly.
So
I would say.
I'm super excited for you guys because I believe the UK beer scene is amazing, and I'm super invested in it, and I believe I'm super connected to it, and I do believe that Mikkeller needs separation. Like Mikkeller in the UK needs separation from the other brands because the other brands have lost steam, and I love it. You know, and I'm connected to it, and you guys would, you know, Mikkeller was a trailblazer, but you know, and speaking, you know, from the U.S. point of view, like, and being a New Yorker, like Mikkeller NYC did not make any noise. You know, like no one, they're not relevant. You talk to, you know, about a brewery that you want to see and you want to visit, you want to go to on the New York beer scene, that they never made any noise. And I believe because people viewed it as Mikkeller being a brand and not a brewery. And I think that you guys have a really, really special opportunity to carve out a role and to make yourselves, you know, relevant, much like War Pigs was in Copenhagen. And I think outside of Europe, you know, that has been the struggle. It's, are you a brewery or are you a brand? You know, and I think that, you know, what you guys are doing, being the first, you know, Mikkeller actually making your own beer in the UK, I think is going to be huge, and I'm excited to see what you guys do, and I'm excited to get over there, and I believe we have a standing brew date, collaboration date on the schedule. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for both of you guys. Sound very knowledgeable, and I think you guys are going to crush it. So touche. Hats off to you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Anthony. And, you know, anyone else, if you have questions or comments, please feel free to put it in the chat window, the Q&A window, or, you know, raise your hand and we'll put you on for a live question. So thank you for that. All right. And speaking of, you know, sort of your backgrounds as far as, you know, I know you, Ariel, started at Mikkeller NYC, so I'm just curious for the both of you as far as your professional paths, how do you end up where you are now? What led you to the current position that you're in?
So I'll let you lead. Sorry.
No. Yours is more interesting than mine. Probably. You've worked more places.
Well, originally, I trained as a chemist, and I kind of got not sick of lab work, but I just sort of felt it wasn't for me. And yeah, I just looked at what I like to do, and I love to homebrew, and I just wondered, how can I make a career out of this? So yeah, I started off, managed to get a job at Beavertown Brewery in North London, and yeah, I spent a few years there learning the basics, and yeah, spent a few years there. Then I moved on to work in Copenhagen at a brewery there, not Mikkeller, but yeah, I worked out there for a while. Then I returned back to London to work as head brewer at Brew by Numbers in Bermondsey. It's yeah, Bermondsey is a legendary place for the UK beer scene. It has the Bermondsey Beer Mile, where you have many breweries under the railway arches, and yeah, it was great to be a part of that. And yeah, now this came up, and couldn't be more excited to be part of Mikkeller Brew Pub London.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like quite a path. So you had a lot of experience coming into this from a lot of different breweries. So yeah, I hope that I could make it out there and try some of your beers sometime soon. So one day. Ariel, what about you?
So Teresa kind of had it right. I started my professional career as a brewer at Mikkeller, New York City, but I've been involved in like the New York City beer scene since almost since I moved to New York, kind of. I guess when I really started homebrewing and joined the breweries is when it all kind of clicked. So I've been homebrewing for 6 years. And once I got my foot in the door with homebrewing, I kind of wanted a little bit more. And it just happened that I was kind of in between jobs and I started working at the local homebrew shop at Bitter and Esther's and went to like a few industry events with friends. I think Robert Sherrill actually took me to, who's one of the founding members of the Brewing. He took me to like my first industry event, which was before Folks Beer opened their doors. They had like a little preview for us and I got to like meet a bunch of people and network with them. And then I kind of just had one foot in the door and always kind of had one foot in the door. I lost my job when I was working as a nonprofit like project manager for this small nonprofit that works with attorneys in the state of New York. And I didn't really know what to do. I started picking up bar shifts. I worked at beer tables selling beer and trying to understand what beer sales looked like and learning more about that side of the industry, and still homebrewing a lot. And that's kind of when I had like this epiphany moment on the train. I remember turning to one of the other breweries then and kind of just going, I think I want to be a professional brewer. And he was like, I'm really glad that you decided to finally accept that that's what you need to do. And I started applying to jobs. I was a finalist candidate at Hudson Valley Brewing and really get along with all of those guys up there. Like what a great group of people. And a few other places that I kind of talked to, but just wasn't the right fit. And then Mikkeller New York City popped up and they had the start of that team was like really amazing. I was very lucky to work with Scott, who's now my romantic partner and, homebrewing partner. There's a woman named Hannah who's incredibly influential in my career and wanting to pursue more education. And it kind of just went from there. And then I was flown to Tokyo for Mikkeller Beer Celebration Tokyo in September. And that's when it wasn't the first time that I'd met Mikkel and a bunch of people from headquarters, but I really got to hang out with them for 5 days. And it was really nice kind of being brought into the fold that way. And Mads, who's in charge of all the UK operations, Mads and I kind of got a little chummy and we just kept in touch. When they posted the job, I reached out and then they, I guess, wanted to keep me in the family. So it worked out.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm sure they're, grateful to have you. So we talked a little bit about the, Mikkeller Brew Pub London. It's going to have its own personality, its own thing. As part of that, because it is in London, are you guys going to be serving real cask ales?
It's something that, yeah, we are looking to introduce. We want to do it right, and obviously it's going to be a huge thing for the Mikkeller brand, and it's got to be awesome. And obviously it's got to be awesome because it's London as well. We can't serve average cask beer, real ale. We've got to have it dialed in, and we're working to bring in some aspects. Ideally 2 lines, but I don't think that will be from launch. It's something we want to work towards, but something that we're very excited to want to bring in.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's sort of a defining feature of British beer, but it is so much extra work as far as not like a keg where you just set it and forget it. It's changing a little bit every day and a lot more finicky. So I'm sure that takes a lot more planning and consideration of what styles you're going to put in there and all of that.
Also, the amount of space that we have in the brew pub, it's we need to really plan it well, because space is a real premium, and yeah, there's definitely ways of us doing it. We just need to do it right. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. And my final question, have you guys ever met in person?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you have, it's not just working on Zoom meetings and over email, you have previously met.
Yeah, we were both flown into Copenhagen at the beginning of the first week of February for kind of a crash course, I would say, kind of in like what it's like to work in a brew pub. We did like a little like mini internship thing at Warpigs. We got to like, you know, see how it would be working together. Kind of the biggest point of the trip, which I was like really confused at why we were both going out there and not actually like working like 12 hours a day at Warpigs or something like that. Basically they wanted us to just like hang out and see if we vibed, which I don't know, we do. We got along. We got to, because Mark lived there, he like took me around to a bunch of like really great restaurants and bars that he's really liked, and we got to, you know, like see the whole scene. And we got to go to the Mikkeller Wild Ale celebration, which brought in the Bauhaven team, and we got to see and experience that whole setup, and then go to a couple like seminars that they put on for all of the people that were visiting, which was really cool to interact with all of these like really experienced brewers, new and old, to like the wild ale brewing scene. So that was really cool. But yeah, we got to spend a week together kind of just chilling.
Solid. You can't beat that. So I know we're a few minutes over time, but Mark, if you have another couple minutes, we've got another question on the line from Anthony. So can you guys stick around for a little bit longer?
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Anthony. So I'm allowing you to talk. So just unmute whenever you're ready to ask your question.
Yeah, thanks again. I appreciate you guys taking another one. Hey, just curious, when did Mark leave Brew by Numbers?
I left in January this year.
Nice. And you were there how long?
I was there for a year.
Nice. And if you had to pick one of Brew by Numbers brews, right? One of their beers, what's your favorite number?
Favorite number, probably number 19.
19.
The farmhouse.
Nice. Much love, man. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you and Ariel. You guys are gonna crush it in London, man.
Awesome.
Super excited for you guys. Can't wait for you guys to crush it. Can't wait till this is all over and come over there and hang out with you all, for real.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, looking forward to having you over.
Absolutely, brother. Good to see your face, man. Good to see you both.
Anthony, I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing the launch of your brewery and getting out there to try all of your beers. So thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about it today. Super excited, and good luck with getting everything ramped up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is it's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for calling in early on a Sunday morning. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I will talk to you on Monday.